Hey, what is going on, guys, and welcome to episode 4 of the build series. Now, with the electrical rough-in complete in the building, it's time for me to get to work running all of my speaker wire for the audio system that I'm going to have in the shop, in the studio here, and then all of the Ethernet cable for all of the security cameras I'm going to be putting inside and on the outside of the building. All the wires sitting there. I've got all the tools with me I should need, so let's get to work. Alright, well, when we left off in episode 3, the electrical rough-in was complete for both the shop and studio sides, which means it's time for me to get to work building a whole pile of speaker boxes for the audio system I'm putting in here, which is actually essentially the same system that I have in my house and garage now. You guys might have seen it if you've watched the garage tour video I did a few years back, but it's an HTD whole house audio system that will allow me to have up to 6 zones and 6 different sources. But anyways, I'll have more on that later. For now, what I'm doing here is using 3/4 inch medium density fiberboard, or MDF as you might know it, as it's the best material for speaker boxes, and having planned this out beforehand, each box will be a 14 inch by 6 inch outside dimension square, so I'll start by ripping down the sheets into all the pieces I need for the 10 boxes I'm building today. Okay, well, with all the individual pieces cut to size now, it's time to assemble these things, and because I like to work smart and not hard, I built a little jig here to make it easier to get all my corners squared up, and we'll use some wood glue and a 2-inch brad nailer to get these boxes built. Now, after double checking HTD's website for the proper cutout size for the speakers, which is 9 3/4 inches, I cut one out and then simply used that as a template for the rest of them. Then I got to work with the jigsaw and cut them all out. Here's the stack of speaker boxes that I built today, and although there's only 8 here, I can assure you I did make 10 of them, and once I had them all built, it was time to get them installed up in the ceiling, which on the surface doesn't seem like an overly difficult job, but given the fact that the ceilings are 13 feet high, I'm up on a ladder and have to hold a big speaker box above my head with one hand stable enough so that I can get it installed perfectly flush with the underside of the rafter. Well, I think it's safe to say it is a little bit of a challenge, but with only 4 speakers on the studio side here, it's not too bad. Okay, well, the very next day I was back out here with a couple of boxes of 14 gauge speaker wire and Cat 6 Ethernet cable, so I got right to work, starting with the speaker wire. And basically the way this works is that each speaker in the building needs one wire run to it, and then all the wires will be run back to the central location, which in this case is the mechanical room. So I'll end up having some shelves in there, and that's where I'll put the amplifier and the main unit for the system. Now after I ran a wire to each box, I made sure to quickly label it so when I hook it all up down the road, it's easier to figure out which wire is which. Okay, with the studio side boxes wired, I'll move over to the shop side and get to work on installing the speaker boxes, which there are 6 of them over on this side, and you might have already guessed, but I'm zoning the 2 sides separately from each other, and then I'm also planning on putting a few speakers on the exterior of the building, which will be the 3rd zone. Now as I start to run the speaker wire to each of the shop side boxes, I figured I'd answer a question that I saw quite a few people ask, or at least comment on in episode 3, and that's regarding solar power for the building. So while I'm not putting solar panels in right now, I did have the roof trusses built with them in mind, so they are a bit beefier and can handle the extra weight of the panels if I do decide to add them in the future. And to answer the why aren't you doing them right now question, well, it's a simple answer in that it's just not financially feasible right now. A little while ago, our government had a really good rebate program for new solar panel installs, which greatly offset the upfront cost. However, they've since axed that program, which pushes the break-even point of that upfront cost way further back. So until that changes or the costs come down, I likely won't be doing it. Okay, with all the boxes wired now, I'll turn my attention to the 2 exterior speakers I'll be putting on the studio side, but first need to drill through the top plate of the wall to get the wire down to where I want the speaker on the exterior.
Okay, well, I figured I'd just jump in and give you a quick update here. So just got the speaker wire finished. It's taken about 4 hours to put the 6 speaker boxes into the shop and run 12 wires, 12 speaker wires, 2 exterior on the studio, 4 in the studio here, and 6 over on the shop side. So I'm about to start on the Ethernet. I am putting a camera in this corner in the studio, also in the other corner over there, and then some exterior ones. I think I've got 12 lines if I calculated correctly, so I got 12 lines to run. So hopefully I can do it a little bit quicker than 4 hours because I'm getting tired.
Alright, well after a quick bite to eat, I'm once again headed back up into the rafters and will again pull 2 wires at a time to save myself some time. And as you can see, this is certainly a tedious job and involves a lot of carefully climbing around the rafters, pulling the wire with me as I go. But to explain what I'm doing in terms of cameras here, I'm basically doing 2 cameras on each corner of the building so that I have every square inch around the exterior covered. And then like I mentioned earlier, I've got a couple going inside the studio as well. Now once I've gotten the wires over to the corners, I'll again drill through the top plate of the wall and then pop the wire out to the exterior. And for those of you who are curious, yes, I could have gone with Wi-Fi cameras, but I'm a big fan of hardwiring everything that I possibly can. And with the power over Ethernet cameras I'll be going with, I won't have to worry about having dedicated power run to each camera, as the PoE network switch will provide that for me through the cable. Here's a quick peek at all the wiring I did, and then over in the mechanical room there's quite a bundle of speaker wire and Ethernet cable. Roughly about 1,500 linear feet of cable was run. Alright guys, well after a long 8-hour day yesterday, I did manage to get all of my wires run. I did finish up but lost daylight by the end of the day, so I'm back. It's a new day. As you can see, all the wires are run through the speaker boxes here, so I need to go around and basically just spool everything up and keep it nice and tidy here, so let's get to work. Now something I almost forgot about was the wall keypad for the audio system over on the shop side, which also needs an Ethernet cable run to it, so I'll quickly mark out the box and then grab my jigsaw to cut it out. Alright guys, well that is going to wrap up episode 4 of this build series. Now I gotta say, that was a lot of work, very exhausting, but definitely time well spent though, because I know I saved myself a ton of money doing all that work myself and running all those wires. Now honestly, I enjoy the work, it's not difficult, but it's very exhausting when you're climbing around rafters and stuff for a whole 8-hour day. So, but anyways, now that I'm done, workers can get back in here now. Episode 5 is going to be, we're going to see plumbing roughing happen, we're going to see the back lines go in, and we're going to see this entire space get insulated and polyed. So yeah, lots coming up. As always guys, make sure you smash the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on a future episode. And yeah, I'm excited to keep showing you guys this whole process. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.